Alright guys, here's another shout out for cute little Champ when he first came home. Look at that poor little leg and shaved bottom. But he's trying hard, looking cute. Love you, Champ. Alright, today we're going to be looking at our quadrilaterals, okay? So a quadrilateral is any four-sided figure. Any four-sided figure. And I think we already copied that down before, but just as a reminder, any four-sided polygon to be more precise. Alright, so a trapezoid. A trapezoid is going to be a quadrilateral. I'm going to abbreviate that just to save some room. You have room, you can write it out. So a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. With exactly one pair of parallel sides. Parallel, I'm going to abbreviate that. Sides, okay? Remember the symbol for parallel there. All right, so a picture of a trapezoid. I always imagine that little thing that elephants stand on. Okay, one pair of parallel sides. All right. All right, a kite. A kite is also a quadrilateral with, now this is where the definition gets a little tricky. A quadrilateral with two pairs of distinct, congruent, consecutive sides. All right, now this word distinct is important here. All right, so imagine the kite that you fly. Okay, looks something like this. You have two sides equal here and then two sides equal here. Okay, so what you get is two pairs of consecutive sides that are congruent. Okay, so these two are consecutive down here, they're congruent, and these two up here are consecutive and congruent, but they're distinct, they're different from each other. All right, so here we have a parallelogram. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral with opposite sides parallel. All right, so if you look at the picture, notice that you have one pair here and then the second pair. And notice that the arrows indicate that these opposite sides are parallel. One mark goes with one mark, two with two to show your parallelogram. All right, our final definition on this slide is going to be the rhombus, okay? So a rhombus is a quadrilateral with four congruent sides, So congruent, of course, meaning that all sides are equal. All right, so if we sketch a picture of that, going to draw opposite sides so they look like they're congruent. Well, it's not perfect, so what we're going to do here is mark that these are congruent. Okay, so the hash marks are showing all those sides are congruent. All right, so next we have the rectangle. A rectangle is a quadrilateral with four right angles. Now, when you draw this, you're going to draw something that looks like this, and you're going to mark that all of your angles are right angles. Okay, so a quadrilateral with four right angles is a rectangle. Now, our final quadrilateral, a square. A square is going to have four right angles and four equal sides. Okay, so a quadrilateral with four right angles and four equal sides. Congruent sides. All right, so what is that going to look like? All right, try to draw this so it looks equal. Okay, we're going to confirm that it's equal by putting in those hash marks, and we're going to have the right angles. Okay, so this is a square. It's also a rectangle because it has four right angles. Okay, the rectangle is not a square because this one up here does not have 4 equal sides. All right, we are going to roll through these definitions for the triangles. All right, a right triangle. A right triangle is a triangle with one right angle. A triangle with one right angle. All right, so remember when you're drawing your picture, you cannot assume that it has a right angle. We're just going to put the box in there to show that it's a right triangle. All right, now an acute triangle is a triangle with all acute angles. Okay, so just as a review, acute means what? What does acute mean? Ava, what is acute? Angles are less than what?
90.
Speak up.
90.
90 what?
Degrees.
All right, with all acute angles. All right, so Ava, what do all the angles in a triangle add up to?
180.
Very good. See, she remembers geometry. All right, so let's say this one's 60 degrees. Then we could have one that's 70 degrees and 50 degrees. All right, so that's acute. All the angles are less than 90 and they add up to 180. All right, obtuse triangle. A triangle with one obtuse angle. Okay, I want you to think about why it can only have one obtuse angle. Why can you only have one obtuse angle? So let's say if this is 100 degrees, let's say that this one down here would be 50 degrees. All right, so that would leave over here 30 degrees. One obtuse angle. Why can you only have one obtuse angle? I want you to think about that. All right, a scalene triangle. A scalene triangle, this is talking about the sides, okay? So a scalene triangle is a triangle with no congruent sides. Another way to think of that, all sides are different lengths. All right, so to show that, I'm going to have 1 hash mark, 2 hash marks, and 3 hash marks. All right, 3 more to go here. An isosceles triangle is going to be a triangle with 2 or 3 congruent sides. 2 or 3 congruent sides. All right, so for isosceles, you can have 2 different pictures. All right, so one is going to look like this, where you have 2 sides equal, and the third side is not congruent to the other 2s. Also, you could have this picture where you have all 3 sides congruent. Now, this is called isosceles, but this is also called equilateral. Okay, an equilateral triangle is a triangle in which all sides are congruent. Okay, so a triangle with 3 congruent sides is equilateral. All right, now this equilateral, think about what all the angles would have to be. Okay, if the sum is 180 degrees, we take that divided by 3 to get 60 degrees for each angle. All right, now you have some specific vocabulary that goes along with an isosceles triangle. You have the vertex angle and the base. Okay, so I'm going to show you what those are. All right, so the vertex angle is the angle between the congruent sides. The angle between congruent sides. All right, so I'm going to come down here. I have a little more room. All right, so let's draw an isosceles triangle. All right, so let's make these 2 sides congruent. So let's call this triangle A, B, C. So in this picture, angle B is the vertex angle because angle B is between the 2 congruent sides. Okay, so the 2 congruent sides would be side BA and side BC. So the vertex angle would be angle B. All right, now you have the base, okay? The base is the non-congruent side, okay? It's also opposite the vertex angle, okay? Opposite, the base is opposite the vertex angle, okay? It is the side opposite the vertex angle. All right, so if I'm trying to find the base, I'm going to find the vertex angle between the congruent sides, and I'm going to go across from it. All right, so here, that is going to be side AC. Okay, so side AC, segment AC, is called the base of this isosceles triangle. All right, now, it could be turned sideways like this. Okay, so if you had X, Y, Z, and you had this marked and this marked, then I want you to think about what your vertex angle would be. Okay, what's the vertex angle? And what is the base? Okay, so copy this and bring it up to show me so I can check to see if you got it right. All right, that ends up your definitions for triangles and quadrilaterals.